Shroud and the team at Mountaintop have made their own competitive FPS. And it turns out, bro can cook. It's a 3v3 tactical shooter that takes its influences clearly from some of the great esports games, but improving upon their design with some really unexpected twists. Let's check it out. So the game is called Spectre Divide. It's free to play, there's been an ongoing beta, and you can find out more about this game in the video description. Also, a big thanks to the devs for reaching out to sponsor today's video, and admittedly, I'm always curious when a gamer makes the transition to game designer. So to see somebody as high profile as Shroud test his hand in game design, I honestly just couldn't wait to get into this one and see what makes it tick. Now, on the surface, Spectre Divide is a mashup of popular ideas that you see in the competitive space. The core mode is a classic bomb defusal. There's a round-to-round economy system, and you get different classes with unique abilities. But it's the features on top of these that turn Spectre Divide into what feels more like a 4D chess version of a competitive FPS. While the matches are a simple 3v3 format, they're also kind of a 6v6. The big twist with Spectre Divide is that every player is given a second life in the form of a Spectre. This is basically a second version of you in the game that you can access at pretty much any point during a round or even after you die as a second chance. In a match, you can throw them to any location in the playable area using the duality puck, which is an item that all players have access to as long as their Spectre is still alive. During the buy phase, you can also place both you and your Spectre within certain boundaries of the map, so you're actually picking a spawn location. And what's so cool about this system is that being able to switch between you and your Spectre at any time creates a wealth of strategies without needing a huge complex team. This could be covering multiple bomb sites at once and switching back and forth. It could be doubling up your efforts in one area. It could be distracting with a Spectre and then switching to the class that you actually want to attack with. There's all kinds of strategies, most of which I'm sure I haven't even thought of yet. Now, there are some cooldowns and limits to how quickly you can switch between your character and your Spectre just to keep things more balanced. There's also visual trails for when you move a Spectre, so you can accidentally give away your position if you're not careful. And what's cool is that the Spectres aren't just punching bags for the enemy teams when they're inactive. They'll function as proximity sensors, giving you an alert if an enemy is nearby or in their line of sight. Spectres can even plant or defuse the bomb on their own. So if you ever wished you could just cover yourself while planting, well, you actually can in this situation. Spectres, of course, can be killed while you're not using them, so you have to place them in a smart position to avoid wasting them. And again, there's just so much depth to how you want to use them. The more I played, the more I realized how crazy useful and also oddly intuitive it is to be in two places at once. The closer your Spectre is to you when you actually die, the faster you can capitalize on knowing exactly where your enemy was and likely where they're going. So you can often turn a lost firefight into a kill trade opportunity if you're smart about it. Alternatively, players can kind of be just about anywhere on the map and flank you from crazy unexpected locations very easily, so it kind of creates a sense of organized chaos to a certain extent. Naturally, the maps are designed around using your duality puck to gain flanks and height advantages. There's multiple paths to each site, and they all offer kind of a unique split of verticality and flanking routes. And due to all the potential engagement angles, you really do have to keep your head on a swivel, though this might get easier as I get better at the maps. You can also do things like throw your duality puck over a wall or through barriers to reach areas that you normally wouldn't be able to get to. And on that same front, when you're starting the round, you can place both yourself and your Spectre using left and right click, and you can place yourself in areas that you couldn't normally reach either. So there's a little bit more strategy to the initial round placement, which I enjoy. During the buy phase, all the weapons are also purchased as pairs, which is a cool twist, one for you and one for your Spectre. The pairs are offered in tiers that will go up in cost, but will offer a more matched set of weapons with better stats. So a budget pick might give you an SMG and a shotgun combo, while a higher tier could give you 2 assault rifles. And the weapon differences between you and your Spectre are going to dictate where you want to use your Spectre or what strategies you have available to yourself. A Spectre with a sniper rifle could cover you from long range as you push in close range. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, of course, there's the class-based system as well. There's 8 classes in the game with 4 unlocked at the start and 4 remaining to unlock as you progress. Some have lethal grenades, others have sonar beacons that highlight enemies. There's smoke grenades, walls that block visibility, and more stuff along those lines. I've been focusing on the Riker and Pinnacle classes for most of the matches. But interestingly, none of the classes have the quote-unquote ultimate style ability. So many games, too many in my opinion these days, have some sort of uber powerful ultimate that lets you break through enemy defenses and get easy kills or intel. But in Spectre Divide, it's really much more focused on your actual FPS skills and your utility items. And I gotta say, I respect that a lot. It puts more emphasis on winning through the essential skills versus saving up for an ultimate combo. Another departure for Spectre Divide is that there's no accuracy penalty for moving while shooting. Where you aim is where your shots generally go. There's still recoil that you'll have to compensate for, but the idea is that you can run and gun and not be penalized for it. Now, in practice, I still found that a lot of my gunfights were a little more traditional, staying behind cover and holding my ground, but it's nice knowing that you're not penalized for moving and you can still be effective in combat. It also very intelligently eliminates some of the exploits that are popping up in other competing shooters that revolve around these movement mechanics. You may have heard of some of those advanced keyboards that can potentially cheat your way through some of the more complex movement mechanics in those games. Spectre Divide seems to be insulated from those issues. Now overall, I gotta say, from the design standpoint, I find this game to be such an interesting take on the esports shooter. It takes a hard look at the current popular formulas and addresses their weak spots in honestly super unexpected ways. Competitive teams can now be just 3 players instead of needing 5, which honestly lowers the complexity of getting a team together and the cost of competing, but the Spectre system still keeps the action at the same levels, if not more intense, while also increasing the strategy. The skill ceiling also seems like it's going to be quite high, needing more awareness for Spectre combos and flanks. The big play potential seems like it could be absolutely massive, with 3 players coordinating to all distract and flank simultaneously. I'm already excited to think about what some of the esports matches could look like. Visually, I also gotta give them props for the art style. It's kind of cartoony, but it does so without losing the edge of its hardcore appeal. This is a tough line to walk, but I think they've achieved it. I'm really excited to see this shooter hit the ground running. It's good that they're doing beta, getting feedback testing right now. I'd be really curious to know if you guys have played it yet and what you think about it. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop me a like, subscribe for more content like it, and ding that notification bell to beat the YouTube algorithm with me. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.